No, you're not seeing ghosts. This is Performance TV, taking a shine to the latest and greatest product innovations to ever roll out of the aftermarket.
Thanks for joining us this week for another edition of Performance TV. We care about our vehicles, whether it's trucks, bikes, or cars, Joe, and we want to keep them nice.
Every week on this show, we're talking about ways to improve, make better, add performance. We've got to protect it, and your car cover is a very important way to do that.
Absolutely. Whether you keep your vehicle in a garage, in a carport, sitting outside, or your bike or whatever, I mean, you want to keep it nice. And I'll tell you what, Joe, custom car covers, one, they're very expensive, and if you change vehicles like I do, well, guess what? Then you need another car cover. What about a semi-custom car cover?
Right, something that if you do change your car or want to switch it between cars, it will still fit. The guys at sealskincovers.com have got that all figured out, and over 10 years invested to make sure they fit perfectly.
Yes, and you're not going to have to wait 5 weeks to get a cover and everything else that goes along with that, and you're not going to be making that big investment as well to protect your big investment.
Yes, and speaking of investments, the idea that they're going to replace it once in the 10-year warranty period, it's like you're getting two covers for the price of one. And you know, you're out there in the wind, the rain, the sun, UV rays, our avian friends destroying our stuff. You might go through another one.
Yeah.
They've got a great offer.
You just wanted to say the word poo.
I wanted to use the word avian.
Yes.
Was number one.
There you go.
And yes, poo is something else.
You know what I'm noticing about this? Do you feel this cover as we're rolling it forward, the material that is on the underneath side of the seal cover?
Yes, well, it's going to protect your paint, and you know we put a lot of effort into our custom paint jobs, and that is going to keep it nice, and maybe you get a little hail every now and again where you live, Kathy.
Yes.
It's going to give you a little bit of protection for that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a cushion. But you also mentioned the UV rays, and if you notice, the seal skin cover has a silver color to it, so it's going to help reflect the light, which is going to do what for the inside of your vehicle?
10 degrees cooler and help keep things living longer. The heat inside the cockpit of a car, people don't realize that is wearing out. The stitching, stitches pop. If you can keep it cooler, you can maintain your interior for longer.
Okay, so having a car cover like this, I don't want anybody to steal it. You got any ideas?
Yes, and they do too. They have a lock and key, so even in a big windstorm, the cover is not going anywhere. If someone wants to steal it, well, they're going to have to ruin it, and what is the point of that?
Well, what about your bike? Joe, whether you have a bike this size, whether you have a trike, they have something for everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
And be able to flip this right over. Of course, you can do this by yourself, but it is fun to have somebody help you. And we just slide this on over.
The whole idea of semi-custom, the custom fit can kind of be a pain because you got to roll it on absolutely perfectly every time. Maybe takes a little bit more. It certainly costs a lot more.
That's right.
And as long as it fits, keeps out the UV rays, keeps it clean, that's all we're looking for.
And they even come with the clip, so that way you can clip it underneath. And like you said, with the lock as well, bungee straps, whatever you want to use. They've got a system to keep this on your vehicle and keep it safe and protected, and the bird poo.
So true. Marine polyester. I'm from Florida.
Right.
And the idea that the marine industry has figured out everything better than the auto industry, in many ways is true.
Right.
No mildew. Things will not stick to it. Of course, it reflects those UV rays. It is just a really good idea, as opposed to like polypropylene, which is going to meld to your paint.
Well, and that is actually an oil-based product, which gets dry and brittle. It's not good to be up against your paint.
Certainly. Now, you made a great point earlier that I don't think a lot of people realize. Covering your car when it's in the garage, maybe it's a little counterintuitive, right?
Right.
But if you put your car in the garage, you spend a little time, there's going to be a thick layer of dust. What is dust anyway? But it ends up on your car. If you cover it, you roll the cover off, now you've got a perfectly clean car ready to hit the road.
That's right. And with, the covers that they have, look at it fit the big truck, the great big truck. Semi-custom covers, something for everybody. If you change vehicles or whatever, you can still use that on your next truck, on your next car. They have so many different sizes and everything to choose from, but semi-custom, so you're not going to be waiting for 5 weeks to get your cover.
Absolutely. And a lot of those perfect custom covers, they break at the stitching because the wind gets under them. They're so tight, they don't have any room to move or shift.
Right.
And that causes a little bit of a problem. I really like what these guys have done at Seal Sun Custom Covers, and they have got a promo code for our viewers.
That's right. PTV, just go to their website and you can find out more. The website right there at the bottom of the screen. And we'll have more of Performance TV right after this.
Performance TV is brought to you by Top Coat. Don't just coat it, top coat it. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radio since 1977. And by RockAuto.com, all the parts your car will ever need.
Hey, we're back with more of Performance TV. You may remember on a previous episode that we had the folks in from Top Coat, and we did all kinds of really cool stuff to our Mustang, to the motorcycles, and to the truck that we have behind us. But Scott, we didn't get a chance to really finish our projects.
We certainly didn't, yeah.
And see how the F11 product works.
True, yeah, absolutely, because there was so much you can do with this product. And of course, when you're shooting, you don't have the time necessary. But that's exactly what we did. You know, we went through and did more.
Yeah, you know, like on the Mustang. I mean, we did the stuff on the interior. We did, you know, stuff on the outside of the car.
Yes.
The bikes.
Amazing.
Yeah, because you could do everything from the Lexan on the bikes all the way through. And we're going to get to that here in just a moment because I kind of want to see how it's turned out.
Sure, sure.
But this work truck?
Yeah.
This doesn't even look like the same truck that rolled in when we first started to work on it. Give us an idea of some of the things that we did on the trucks.
Well, it was interesting because while we were filming, we said, you know, we're going to do some more on the truck. And as you know, it certainly didn't look like this. And but pretty much what we did is we did all the fenders here, the panels, we did the glass, we did the plastics and so forth. We even did one of the rims just to show the stark difference between the two, correct? But also the running gear, the plastics, the chrome. I mean, we pretty much did everything, including your windshield and about half of the windshield on the inside, just to show those stark differences. As you can see, the one great thing about the product is the more it cures, the more resilient it gets, and the more shiny you're going to see.
Right. You know, and what I really like about the windshield, too, is because of the properties that F11 has, you're not going to use your windshield wipers quite as much anymore either.
That's correct. It is extremely hydrophobic, and which makes for, you know, heavy rain, whatever, you know, heavy elements. Everything just beads off, zips off that windshield so quickly. It's a lifesaver. I make sure my kids, at least, if they're going to do something, do your windshield.
Well, we've seen what we can do with F11 on the outside of the truck, but this truck's pretty dirty on the inside. Scott, why don't we open the door so we can see how we can really clean up the inside of the truck?
Well, and that's the other great thing, too. We did the outside, right? Well, now we're moving to the inside because, again, it's so versatile, multi-use. So I'm going to take the product here, and if you notice here, we've got the carpet, obviously different materials, and the sill. I'm going to do all of that real fast so we can catch that.
Let's go ahead and spray it, Scott.
All set?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to spray it down like, now watch this. You just spray directly on it. Don't worry about it. And I'm using a little more here because it is dirty, obviously. And if it wasn't as dirty, I wouldn't use as much.
Okay.
And now I'll take this, and watch this. Now you see all that dirt. Now obviously you want to vacuum, you want to clean the bulk of it out, but just for show and tell.
Yeah, it makes all the difference in the world, but it's not making it.
It's not stopping it.
Yeah, it's going to look awesome. You know what? Let's go ahead and move over to the bikes because I have a Harley at home and I want to see how this F11 product really worked on everything.
Oh, absolutely. And look at this. No, I mean, I don't know if you can see that in that camera, but that's night and day. And imagine doing the whole interior that way.
Amazing what the F11 product can do, and we definitely have that on the bike. Scott, when we start off, just take a look at the seat.
Isn't that incredible?
That is just amazing. Yes. And of course, you know, look at the engine.
Yeah.
You're able to use the F11 product on absolutely everything.
And no heat issues.
And no heat issues. You can see on the tank where the F11 was used, where it was not, and even right down to the front fender.
Yeah, the before and afters is incredible, and it's a denim finished bike.
Right, and the F11 product is eco-friendly. It is water-based, no VOCs.
Right.
We don't have to worry about anything with our hands when we're using the product.
That's right.
And it's just amazing. We don't have to have 10, 11 products to be able to detail.
And the more you use, the better the results, the better it gets. You know, from cleaning to less maintenance, all the above. I mean, look at this bike. Look at that shine. And that's with one coat. Can you imagine what that'll look like with a couple more coats?
And we have to remind the folks that didn't get a chance to see, we used it from front to back, and that includes the Lexan window.
Yeah.
But that's not all you can do with F11. What do you say we take a look at the Mustang?
Absolutely.
Just about any surface that you can possibly think of, Scott, and we certainly see that here on the Mustang under the hood.
From the plastics to, you know, your metals, everything, every square inch of this engine, you can literally spray down. You can even spray it, close the hood, and come back 2 hours later. But at the end of the day, spray it, wipe it, and this is what you get. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can see one side.
Yes.
And the other side is, you know.
Literally striking difference, yes. Yeah, I mean, you can see all that dirt, how it was. You know, we didn't hose it, we didn't clean it before. We just literally sprayed the product in there, and that's what you get.
Stainless paint, glass, rubber, anything you can possibly think of. And you can find out more by going to their website at topcoat.tv. We'll have more of Performance TV right after this.
Performance TV coming from Borla Commerce Park.
Your car's electrical system is very important. That's why every once in a while you should check it.
Yeah, and especially on the vehicle that we have here today, we've kind of noticed that the lights have been a little bit dim. So we're curious, is it the battery or is it the charging system itself? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our voltmeter. A lot of you guys have these at home. If you don't, you can pick up a battery tester at your local auto parts store. But we're just going to see where we are. And yeah, we'd like to see it a little closer to maybe 13, hopefully at least 12 and a half, even when the vehicle is not running. Joe, why don't you go ahead and start it up for me to see if we can check the charging system itself and if it's actually putting out. We'd like to see it up around 14 or over like it is. Joe, kick those lights on. Let's put a load on, at least a little bit of a load. See if we can see it pull down. Joe, I don't think we have any problem with the charging system itself on this particular vehicle. You can go ahead and kill it. I think that we have a battery that is starting to go bad. And you can check the date on the battery. You know, these batteries are going through a lot of heat and cold cycles, and it puts a lot of wear and tear on them, just like any other battery you're going to have at home. Sometimes you just got to replace them.
We're here with Nikki from Clamp Tight. We've got them all laid out, tools and applications. I love this tool. Tell me about what we're looking at.
Clamp Tight tool is an extremely versatile tool. The big question we get a lot of times is, which tool do I need? And it really kind of just depends on what projects. The great thing too is we've actually made the tools so you can use it for just the regular car guy, the mechanic, the true mechanic, or even like the guy that only wants snap-on tools. You want the best of the best. And that's all about the wire size that you're working with. So let me tell you a little bit about these tools. This one here is our plated steel with an aluminum body. Has stainless steel on the nose, aluminum on this body, and this is our all stainless steel tool. This one here is a really good all-around tool. You're going to use it for just about anything around the house, the car, the boat, the RV. Keep it in your car, have it with you at all times. The other great thing too is we just came out with this one. This is our mini. It's half the size as our regular tool, so it's going to get into those really tight spaces. These two will do up to 51 thousandths. This one will do up to 62 thousandths size wire. The mini will actually do up to 41 thousandths, and 41's your really good all-around wire. You're going to be able to use that for just about anything.
So these are for applications you might find in a home, in a shop, something maybe a little more common.
Absolutely. The bigger tools, now these are going to do wire size. This one here is going to start at 62 thousandth size wire, and it actually does up to 0.125, so it does up to 9 wire. This one starts at 0.125 and goes up to an 0.4. I actually have a guy in Wyoming putting telephone poles back together when they split using that tool and 0.4.
No, I'm seeing some applications here, and I'm thinking I would never have thought to use Clamp Tight, and yet here it is and it works.
And it works great. It's like agricultural applications, you know, just oil rigs. People are using it on there. So fence posts, barbed wire fencing fits in there. So you can do just about anything. You know, even if you're just safety wiring something, you can use this tool, and it's actually more secure than a regular safety wire would be.
So for people at home, how do they make the decision which one is right? And is there one that is just more universal than another?
A little bit can be about price. So they do kind of go up in price a little bit. So if you're using it just for one or two things around the house, this one or this one will do you all day long. If you're using it more often, this one here is what you probably want to use, just to save your fingers and get a little more torque out of it as well.
I absolutely love it. I have learned a lot. And now we're going to kick it over to Kathy and Kevin for a little real-world application.
Well, we're over here with the Corvette, and Kevin, you guys have all kinds of tools to cover all different hoses like we're going to have underneath the hood here, and different size wire for different tools as well. So if we're taking a look at some of the things that we would need to fix or maybe want to clean up and make them look better if we're going to make a show car out of something, what are some of the things we need to keep in mind?
So most of the tools that are sitting here you can use for any of the hoses here, like if we're talking about the intakes, things like that, your coolants, any of the tools will work. The most common one is the one you have in your hand. That's what most people use because that nice T-handle there gives you a lot of torque to get on those thick rubber hoses and things like that. If you wanted to use the most common wire is a 41 thousandths wire, it'll do anything underneath the hood. I use a little bit smaller, like my 51 thousandths wire. It's great for doing your thicker hoses if you want to do it on the intake. And it's a much beefier look, so it looks a little bit better, depending on the car, especially if you're doing a muscle car or something like that. 62 thousandths is great for those muscle cars because it gives it that nice thick look. It's got that nice thick wire, but that's all about aesthetics.
Well, and you know, when we're doing something like this, there's also some areas that maybe the tool that you have to do all your other stuff, it's not going to fit in. You know how they're cramming everything under the hoods with hoses and wires and stuff going everywhere. But you guys have so many different size tools, just like what we're going to do to fix our problem that we had here on this particular Corvette, and that's the Mini.
Absolutely. This tool is perfect for getting in those tight spaces down closer into the engine. So let me go ahead and take that tool. We're going to stick our nose in just like this, wrap it around our pins on both sides, and then we twist those two together just like a bread tie. That's what locks it all down so the tool doesn't slide around everywhere.
And I noticed that when you guys are doing this, you're not really concerned about whether that part is loose or not.
Right, you're just snugging it up, and then you start turning it. So I'm in that notch, just like that, and you just start turning the tool. Now that wire is being pulled, and that's what gives us that full 360-degree seal on that clamp. That way you don't have to worry about it getting loose or anything, or coming loose and air, or in this case coolant, leaking around everywhere. That's never good.
And then we're going to do that, and we're going to flip it over just like we do all of our other clamp tight tools.
Comes right off just like you saw.
Yeah, and we're going to clip that, put them down. You want to find out more about all the different clamp tight tools for different size jobs, you can go to their website at clamptighttools.com, and we'll have so much more Performance TV coming up.
Performance TV is brought to you by Aid Fasteners, home of the world's best locking header bolt, proudly made in the USA. Go to stageaid.com. Neil Chance Converters, home of the world's fastest automatic door slammers. K Designs, making your ride unique with high-quality parts. And by Clamp Tight, the clamp making tool.
Welcome back to Performance TV. We have a great thing to show you today on how you can move a vehicle around in the shop, outside, without having to have the factory wheels and tires on it. Now, when would you run into a situation like that? Let's say, for an example, you own a body shop and you've got vehicles, different ones coming in, damaged wheels and tires. What do you do, and how do you move that vehicle around if you don't have those particular wheels and tires, or while you're waiting for those to come in? It's tying up your rack in the meantime. But that's why we have Sergio here with us today from Goonie Wheel. Now, Sergio, how in the world did you come up with this idea?
The whole idea and the concept came when I've been in the auto body shop industry and the wheel repair industry for many years, and I just had that instinct going to shops, finding cars that were dead, couldn't be moved, and they needed some mobility, right? How did we get cars off jack stands? How do we get it back to the ground? And how do we keep cars moving, which increases production, obviously. Increase in production is increase in revenue.
Well, you know, you mentioned jack stands, and something that I notice about the Goonie Wheel, we've got it, it's mobile, it's up off the ground, we can still work on it if we need to, without it being on a jack stand, which can be dangerous.
That's right, and it's a high risk. And you know, on the high-end cars nowadays, it's also difficult to find a jack point. So it becomes a guessing game for the technicians out there. This eliminates that guess. You put the Goonie wheel on, you drop it back down to the safe ground where all cars should be, and you know you've got a car on the ground and it's safe.
Okay, so we have our Mustang here, which, we've got our 5-bolt pattern, but this particular Goonie wheel does how many different bolt patterns?
Yes, this is the Goonie wheel 45, so this will cover your 4 and 5 lug patterns from 100 PCD all the way up to 137 PCD. The center bore on this specific wheel is 65 millimeters, so it also covers the majority of the center bores out there.
What's it made out of?
A mild steel, same material they use to make trailer wheels, spare wheels on cars. And the outer rim is basically a solid rubber, natural rubber, so it's non-marking. It will not leave any black marks, on the shop floors.
What's the weight rating on the Goonie wheel?
It does weigh 34 pounds, and it has the rate capacity of 2,500 pounds per wheel.
Okay, so 2,500 pounds per wheel.
Per wheel, yeah.
Wow. Say you've got a really nice car, not just for the body shops or shops like that, for you at home that has a nice vehicle, it's going to sit for 7 months because it's going to be in storage.
That's right.
You could use something like this and then not have flat spots.
This is perfect. I do it on my boat. I'm stored my boat away for the winter, put the Goonie wheels on, took the original wheels off, stored them away. Not going to get flat spots, not going to get dry rotting on the sidewalls. Perfect tool for storage.
When I look at it, and you mentioned the natural rubber, it's not smooth. I see there's some notches on there. Now, what would that be for?
Yeah, so I had to bring safety into it, safety first. So I designed the wheel that it could have safety strips that it's almost like a warning signal. As soon as you go over 5 miles an hour, it is going to vibrate. The car's going to vibrate, and you're going to know you got Goonie wheels on the car. And you're going to know you've hit that 5-mile mark.
That's right, slow down.
Slow down. We do not want you to go anything faster than 5 miles an hour.
So you have the 45.
That's right.
And I also see that you are working on the prototype we have here for the 5 and 6 lug.
That's right, yeah. So this is the bigger wheel. This will cover your bigger SUVs, your pickup trucks. This will have, as you can see, it's got a much bigger center bore of 110 mils, and it's got the PCDs at 135 and 139.7 and 155. So that will cover a wide variety of our SUVs and pickups on the road today.
What are you expecting the weight limit to be?
Probably 2,500 pounds plus. We are going with a 4 millimeter steel on this one, where the Goonie 45 is a 3.2 millimeter. So this will have a much heavier load rating.
And you also have it covered as well. If people have great big brakes on the car, you have spacers that are available and so much more. You can go to their website at gooniewheel.com and see what they have available for your ride and find out more about the product. Hey, that's all we have time for on this week's Performance TV. If you have a product that you would like to see featured on the show, just send an email, sponsors@masterstv.com, and we'll see you next time.